Well, last night, the Rockies started the second half on the right foot to the tune of 20 hits and a dozen runs. And Ryan Spilborgh's got them started quickly with a home run in the bottom of the first. Tonight, game 2 of this 4-game set between the Rockies and the very gifted Milwaukee Brewers. No rain in the forecast.
Yeah, that's nice.
Good evening, everybody. With George Frazier, I'm Drew Goodman. The Rockies did break out the bats. They've been scoring a lot of runs at home in the month of July. At least 8 in all 4 ball games so far. It was great to see. And you know, it was really terrific to see. The bottom of the order really helped out a big way.
Well, they did. Ian Stewart came up, made a big statement last night. Chris Iannetta did a good job last night. And this is what you're looking for. Wellington 3 for 5, 3 for 5, 2 for 4. A lot of RBIs, a lot of runs scored, but pressure on the opposition. That's what you like in the bottom half of your lineup. And the Rockies did that last night. It was a big night for the bottom half. You always expect out of the top of your order, that's where your better hitters typically are, and you expect that from them. But to see it from the bottom of the order last night, that was exciting.
Absolutely. Here's our daily Carlos Gonzalez update. Yesterday, he took swings just underneath. Tonight, he took swings out on the field. He was driving the baseball over the wall to all fields, and they believe if he wakes up tomorrow and he's not too sore, George, he could be in the lineup Saturday.
Well, and watching him hit today, I mean, he hit a lot of balls into the upper deck. He hit a lot of balls in opposite field with authority. And again, if he doesn't wake up sore tomorrow, that's all going to be good. But there was some roster moves made by the Rockies today.
Well, Dexter's back. Dexter Fowler has really been swinging the bat well the last 10 days, 14 days down in Colorado Springs. Cole Gardner, who had some nice moments, was sent back to AAA. Eliezer Alfonso, who's had a lot of big league time with the San Francisco Giants in the past. He can swing the bat. He's been brought to the big leagues. Matt Pagnozzi was sent back out. And to make room on the 40-man roster, Charlie Blackmon was transferred to the 60-day DL. And it is good to see Dexter back in a Rockies uniform. 385 his last 10 ball games, George. And when we come back, she'll sit, well, we're going to get your word on that first.
Well, I think it's good that he's back. He realized what he's done. Hopefully he comes back with a chip on his shoulder. And to try to show people that he went down and corrected a swing where he had his hands high, they're lower, they're tighter now, get to the inside pitch better. And most importantly, I think you need his defense in center field if Cargo can't go. You need a guy that can cover some ground, and he can do just that.
Especially here at Coors Field.
Absolutely.
Without question. Well, more on Dexter Fowler when we come back. He will sit down with Alana Rizzo. Stick around as we get ready for first pitch tonight. The Rockies and Brew Crew.
The starting pitcher for the Colorado Rockies going for win number 4 for him in the 2011 season. Welcome back as we are inside of Coors Field. As you guys heard earlier, Dexter Fowler is back up with the big club, being recalled today to rejoin the team. I was able to talk to Dexter earlier today about what it means to be back in Denver.
Excited, you know, I just want to come out and help the team, you know, quickly as possible. And, you know, it's like I said, it's being back. It's like being back with your family.
And in his last 10 games at AAA Colorado Springs, a .385 average, down there to prove a point. And you know what? Jim Tracy said he wasn't going to bring him back up to the big club if he wasn't going to play. He's doing exactly that. Leading off the game today, Dexter told me, other than working on his stuff offensively, he said the biggest thing he worked on when he was down in Colorado Springs was clearing his head. Good to see number 24 back in the bigs. And coming up after the break, we are set for baseball. Game 2 between the Milwaukee Brewers and the Colorado Rockies. That's coming up. Stay with us.
Rockies baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. By the Ford Fiesta with 40 MPG, it's a pretty big deal. Ford Fiesta, drive one. By Quest, Quest is becoming CenturyLink. Your link begins here. Find out more at CenturyLink.com/link. By Jack in the Box, Jack's really big chicken sandwich combo is back for only $3.99 plus tax at participating restaurants. And by Southwest Airlines, new Rapid Rewards Unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates. Always good to be at Coors Field, and the Rockies with a 23-22 home record after their dismantling of Milwaukee last night, 12-3, look to build on that, and they have to have an extraordinary second half, and that begins at home. Juan Nicasio on the hill. He'll face Ricky Weeks. Ricky Weeks, an all-star, 17 home runs, 39 RBIs. He's kind of a throwback leadoff hitter to the days of Ricky Henderson, a guy who can run but also hit it over the wall. He is a dangerous guy.
He's very dangerous. You can't make a mistake on him with the fastball. I look for the Milwaukee Brewers to be very patient as other teams that swing the bat well on fastballs in this game for till the second time through.
And a slider, George, on the second pitch. And one of the things that we're going to try to track tonight is exactly kind of what you're alluding to. You cannot just sit back, even with that great fastball in Nicasio, and think you're going to take care of the Brewers second and third time through with one pitch.
1 inning exposure is one thing with a good fastball, but when you try to expose it 7, 8 innings, you better have really good command of it.
He chose 97 out and away from the plate. 1 and 2 on Weeks. Game time temperature is 88 degrees. It was warm on the field during batting practice. Temperature in the mid-90s earlier today. And that's down low again at 97. 2 and 2.
Typically, Ed Rapuano behind the plate's a very, very good umpire. He'll give you corner to corner, and he will call the low fastball. Just try to find the zone within Eddie, and you've got going to have a pretty good night.
This will be an interesting decision here. 2-2. He got the fastball, and he hit it into the ground. Tulowitzki will throw out Weeks by a step as we take a look at the rest of the Southwest Airlines batting order for the Brewers and Ron Renicky. Nyjer Morgan, the former hockey player, will be in center field batting second. Ryan Braun, an all-star, couldn't play because of a calf injury. Prince Fielder was the MVP of the all-star game a couple of days ago. Then Corey Hart, the former Seattle Mariner, Yuneski Betancourt, Craig Counsell gets a start at third. Jonathan Lucroy is behind the plate. One out here is Morgan. Those two guys up top, George, when they play Weeks and Morgan together, two guys that you got to shorten up in the infield.
Well, you have to. They all have very good speed, particularly Morgan, a guy that can bunt the ball third and first. And he will try to do little things. Fake the bunt on the first pitch. Try to get a ball. It was a strike. Now the count's even at 1-1. A lot of speed at the top 3 batters in this order.
Went off speed there, a changeup, and he missed. 2 balls and a strike. Chris Iannetta trying to guide Nicasio through his 9th big league start.
With his fastball command, if he'll work both sides of the plate and elevate occasionally, he can do a very nice job at the big league level and have a so-so slider. It's when you lose the fastball command. He walked 3 in his outing against Atlanta, and it cost him.
Here's a 2-2. Iannetta sets up away, and the fastball. He's sitting on 97. He's got the good feel tonight, and he misses away 3-2. In his career, Nyjer Morgan has done plenty of damage against the Rockies. Former Pirate, former Washington National. Line drive right at Tulowitzki. That's 2 out.
Let's take a look at Juan Nicasio on the season so far. He is 3-2, 491 earned run average. Has pitched very, very well at Coors Field. 3-0 with a very low earned run average. He struck out 19 here. He was called up from AA Tulsa, where he was just outstanding. He just outmanned the Texas League. There wasn't a team that could get after him, and now he's trying to adjust and make some of those adjustments and doing it very well here at the big league level.
And here's the biggest thing at home. When he toes the rubber, the Rockies are 4-0 as a club. Here's Ryan Braun. He has that 23-game hitting streak. He went 2 for 4 last night.
Elevated fastballs last night, and he drove it to the opposite field gap, and he did it with some authority. I still think with he and Fielder both, you've got to make them aware of a fastball in.
Boy, that's a pretty good heater right there, George.
Yep, 96.
Talk about fastball in.
Yeah, 96 miles an hour, in off of the plate a little bit, but called a strike by Rapuano.
0-2 on Braun with 2 outs and nobody on.
Elevated heater, but elevated. See, almost got him to bite, and he will bite, but it's got to be in, not away.
See, I like George. You know, I know he missed a little bit, but that was a decision that Braun had to make, as opposed to that 0-2 pitch where you don't have to make any decision because it's 3 feet high.
Well, and it handcuffed him. You see his hands get jerked back a little bit. He started the bat motion forward and it jerked his hands back, so you get his attention that way. Elevated heater, not the spot they wanted it. Foul tipped and held on to by Iannetta.
But it helps when you throw in the upper 90s. A very nice first inning for Juan Nicasio. Hopefully they do something similar to last night. Anywhere close would work. 12 runs, 20 hits. Dexter Fowler, welcome back to the big leagues. Dexter at 238 and 18 RBIs. As Alana told you in the open, really came on the last 10 days in Colorado Springs. He'll hit from the right side. Then Mark Ellis will follow. Todd Helton. Troy Tulowitzki had a couple of doubles last night. Ty Wigginton threw out 3 hits. Spilborg's a hitting star. 4 hits, 4 RBIs, batting leadoff last night. Ian Stewart had 3 knocks yesterday, including a pair of doubles. Chris Iannetta also swung it well, and then Nicasio. Chris Narveson is on the hill, and his fastball misses ball 1. Narveson briefly in the Rockies organization, originally part of the Larry Walker trade when he was with the Cardinals organization, and that touches the top of the strike zone. 1-1. George, he's a competitive guy. He's a good athlete.
A very good athlete, but a guy that stays down in the strike zone typically. He'll change speeds with everything. There's the off-speed pitch that he'll throw to the outside part of the plate. A really good changeup that he'll utilize against right-handers. He will cut the ball in under the hands. I think he's learned a few things this year from Randy Wolf when it came to the cutter and the way to utilize that. 4.75 earned run average. Started out very good in his first 13 innings with the Brewers. Since has gone 5-5 with a mid-5 earned run average.
And he struggled at Coors Field, an ERA above 5. 4 appearances, 2 starts here. On the ground down the line, that's a fair ball. Dexter can show off the wheels. Ryan Braun with that gimpy calf gets over to the baseball. A leadoff double for Dexter Fowler. Welcome back to 20th and Blake.
This is the perfect guy for Dexter to face first night back because it's not an overpowering fastball. This ball, a changeup, hugged right down the line, right out of the reach of Counsell down the third base line. You see he starts to dive for this baseball about a foot short as it worked into the corner.
And now Mark Ellis, who continues to tear it up since putting on a Rockies uniform, George, particularly here at home. He's hitting .500 at home.
Likes the hitting background, obviously, at Coors Field. And a professional guy at the 2-hole. You like where he is here with a runner at second. Hopefully the ball will be hit to the right side. Advance the runner, if not, drive him in with a base hit.
He drove in 3 last night.
There's that cutter on right-handers just to make him aware of the pitch in at 89.
Yeah, I think every generation, George, has a pitch that becomes really in vogue. In the last 5 years, it's the cutter, particularly with lefties.
Well, I think part of that, you're right, left-handers to make it, because left-handers, not a lot of them that throw in the mid-90s, that throw the ball by people. So you want the ball to be able to cut in, take away the inner half of the plate. And I think, too, with the success Mariano Rivera, and everybody's like, he's right-handed and throws hard, but, you know, that's a pretty good pitch. And so more and more coaches are teaching the cutter than they are the hard slider. Less pressure on the arm, obviously, throwing the cutter because it's a lot like a fastball grip and release.
And you see Narveson trying to work in on the knuckles of Ellis, trying to prevent him from hitting the ball to the right side. See if Dexter gets a good read on the lefty. One of the areas he's been working on is trying to steal bases, and Dex is going to cross over, no throw from Betancourt. A good decision. That's just pure speed. Dexter able to cross over on a baseball in front of him that most runners would not and should not do. Let's check in with Alana Rizzo. Alana?
Hey guys, just wanted to let you know what I have going on in the ball game. We wanted to know what Rockies fans have on their minds. So throughout the ball game, I'm going to pose a few questions to both you and to George, what they want to know, and you guys can weigh in on those things. And we'll start with the questions in the next inning. So I hope you guys are smart, done your research, ready to answer some questions from Rockies fans tonight.
Well, looking forward to it, Alana. Appreciate the hard work on your part.
You asked if we were smart, so out the window goes the first assumption. Todd a chance to drive in his 42nd run, give the Rockies a quick lead. That's a pretty good block by Lucroy. Narveson, at one time, when the Rockies traded Larry Walker to St. Louis, he was rated as the #2 prospect in the Cardinals chain. And the Rockies moved him the next year, 2005, to Boston, part of that Young Kim deal. So he's been involved in some fairly large transactions. Last year, a 12-game winner. First full season in the big leagues. 29-year-old. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Helt. Todd was 1 for 5 last night. Strike 3. Todd said something, Ed Rapawano. He thought that pitch either was down or away.
An awful big bender, something he hadn't seen yet. I think the pitch was away, and it was. Well off of the plate. Todd having a difficult time agreeing with Ed Rapawano. That was a bad call.
So now it'll take a 2-out knock. Tulowitzki at the plate. That gets away. Here comes Dexter. Here's the flip to Narveson. Safe at the plate.
Bad flip by LaCroix. Heads up base running by Dexter Fowler.
And that's the difference, George, that he makes. There are few guys that can run like Dexter.
Well, it's important that he makes advantage of his speed, not just at third, but at first base when he gets on base, because that's one of the things he worked on was stealing bases. Here's a huge walking lead. It benefited with the jump at third. And then you look to see where this pitch goes, and then the jump starts. I didn't like the flip from the catcher, well behind the pitcher, so there was not a whole lot there. Milwaukee leads the National League in wild pitches with 42. Take advantage, the Rockies did.
That pitch misses. 2-0 on Tulowitzki. So Dexter making his presence felt in his first at bat. A leadoff double, moves to third on a ground ball to the left side. Most players couldn't do that, and then scores on a wild pitch, George, again, that most players are going to get that walking lead and then put the brakes on because it didn't get that far away.
No, it didn't get that far away, but again, if you have the walking lead, you have the speed, take advantage of it, and particularly early in games. You get late to the latter part of the game, you might not take that advantage or try to take advantage of that situation as much as you would early. He's easily 15 to 20 feet down the line, so then the foot race was about equal, about 65 feet between he and Narveson.
Here's the 3-1, and Troy drives this to left field, and Ryan Braun's going to have to field it off the wall. It's going to be a 2-out double for Tulowitzki. Two of those last night, and he starts the night with a 2-bagger.
Yeah, nice to see this because it's a pitch that's fading down and away from him. It's a changeup, so he's generating all the power with his bat. You can see where this ball's being driven down the left field line. The Rockies 23-18, not a whole lot, scoring first, but here at Coors, 5 games over, 11-6. They've got an early lead here, 1-0.
Ty Wigginton, 13 bombs, 37 driven in. Outfield deep for Wigginton. And he takes a strike on the outside corner. Ty last night 3 for 5, scored 3 runs. He's hitting .328 against Southpaws. It's off the plate. Yeah, maybe a little hint, George, for Wigginton as he glances out at Nyjer Morgan in center field. First 2 pitches away, and Morgan's shading him to right center.
Well, it's the old adage, pitch away, play away, and you play into the gap a little bit so you can get a better break on the baseball. Falling behind now, 2-1.
And if you're Wigginton, That's where you look then. Look away.
Yeah, you always try to judge where they're positioning the infield. And they're playing him to pull on the ground away in the air. So ball up, they're thinking you're going to hit the fly ball to the right side. A ball down, they think you're going to pull it because of the second base, shortstop, and third baseman's positioning defensively.
2-1, and it's pounded into the ground, foul. Let's take a look at the defense for the Brewers. This has been an Achilles heel for them. They have not played good defense, particularly in the infield. Braun, Morgan, and Hart in the outfield. All those guys run pretty well, though Braun's limited with the calf injury. Council's a middle infielder by trade. He's at third tonight. Betancourt and Weeks up the middle. Prince Fielder struggles with the glove at first. 2-2. But if you knock him in, George, with the frequency that Prince does,
nobody cares.
Yeah. 3-2.
73 RBIs, that leads the National League. I mean, he's done everything in a free agent year you would want to do. You know, they always talk about guys playing in contract years. Well, it's like he's been playing a contract year the last 4 or 5 years, what he's put up.
Yeah, he shows up every day, regardless of whether he's in the first year or the last year of a deal. Here's the 3-2, and it's on the ground to Betancourt. Rockies get a run in the first. Dexter Fowler made it happen. A leadoff double, and then the great speed on display. 1-0 Rockies. Frazier and Alana Rizzo from Coors Field last night. A crowd of more than 41,000 in attendance on a Thursday night. Looks like a nice gathering once again. Game 2 of the second half. I put that in quotation because the second half really began in earnest a few weeks ago. Tonight is game number 93 for the Rockies. They're 44-48. Brewers 49-44. Prince Fielder takes a strike.
Let's watch and see if what's the best way to put this? Hypeness stayed with Nicasio, because he was 96-98 in that first inning. First offering to Fielder was 92. This is 93. A lot of times at the start of the game, a young pitcher will be so hyped up, he just airing it out with command. Those two pitches have been down a little bit. Here's a good fastball at 93, but on the knees.
Fielder has started all 93 games, now 94 games for the Brewers. And a base hit through the left side. He went off speed. And again, George, you like to talk about the changeup hopefully being about 10 miles an hour less than the fastball. His fastball anywhere 94 to 97. That changeup was 88.
Well, and it being 88 miles an hour, because the early fastballs were 92, 93, 93, and then all of a sudden a changeup at 88. 5 miles an hour is not a big enough adjustment velocity for a hitter to get out on his front foot.
Corey Hart hit a home run late in the ball game last night. And he takes a swing and fouls it back.
It's interesting, too, with Prince Fielder. You'd think big, strong guy, pull hitter, and he pulls a lot of balls. 73 of his hits are to the right side. 24 have been to the left side. So he can go the other way and do it with authority. Hart's home run last night, at the time, 12-2 ball game. Stoltz trying to throw a 3-2 fastball just to get an out. Took it out into right center field. Not diminish the fastball or his accomplishments of a home run, but he had fouled off 7 straight pitches before finally connecting last night in the 9th inning. Stoltz then retired the next 3 men he faced.
2-1 on Corey Hart. Alfonso, the newest Rocky.
He's talking to Carney Langsford, who has the hitting charts of where guys pitch and where they go with certain pitches. And so then Carney can look at it and say, if this guy comes in, this is what he's going to throw first pitch majority of the time.
Nobody out. Prince Fielder at first. 2-2 count on Corey Hart. Three and 2. Alfonso in 94 at bats down in Colorado Springs, George, had hit 12 home runs and knocked in 37.
Showing about well down there. The problem at the one point in the start of the season, you had Alfonso, Pagnazzi, and Pacheco. So you had 3 catchers sitting there that you're trying to get work for, and he was kind of the odd man out at the time.
This ball's well hit to right, but playable for Spilborghs. 1 out. Coming up in the 6th inning, installment of Toyota Talk. That involves you. Text Toyota followed by a space and in your comments and questions to 720-720. We're still putting together a subject for you tonight. Here's Betancourt, 240 average, 5 home runs. He's driven in 30. He's kind of swapped shortstops, George, with the Royals. Betancourt came from the Royals, and Escobar went from Milwaukee, Alcides Escobar, to Kansas City. Ground ball to short. There's one on the first double play. I didn't know if that ball was hit hard enough to double up Betancourt. Obviously it was. 99th double play turned by the Rockies this year.
as we head to the bottom of the second inning. Ryan Spilborgh's leading off the bottom of the second for Colorado. Time for our first fan question. This comes from Mike Stallman of Boulder. He wants to ask you guys what Ryan Spilborghs did so well last night that made him so successful, and wanted me to tell him to please do it again. What did you guys notice from Spilly last night?
I noticed he attacked the ball early, and he utilized all parts of the field, and they didn't get tricked on a breaking ball. Early, he hit that ball for a home run off the foul pole on a hanging breaking ball. So I thought he was very aggressive.
Here's his first at bat against Chris Narveson. Here's what he did last night.
It was good last night. He got that hanging breaking ball. He hit it right off the foul pole about 3/4 the way up. That got the Rockies going. Then a base hit right back up the middle.
This is in the air to center field. Niger Morgan scoots over to left center, 1 out. Spilborgh's before his 4 hits last night, 2 for 18 coming in. 1 out, and that'll bring up Ian Stewart. You talk about having a night and that helping your confidence grow. That's a situation for Ian Stewart as he steps into the box tonight.
Much like Dexter Fowler, not an overpowering left-hander. And last night he did face a left-hander at Braddock, and he got a base hit against him. So his average sits at 141, and his confidence sits at 1,000. I mean, he is a really confident hitter now, and some quick little changes that he made since he's been back are starting to show up here a little bit, a little farther off of the plate, not taking the inside pitch, a little bit of an open stance.
Well, I asked him earlier which of his at-bats he was most pleased with, and he said, yeah, without question, the left on left, the one you described, George, against Braddock. He stayed on it, and he drove it with authority to left center field. This replay brought to you by the Colorado Lottery. Here's Ian Stewart's evening last night. This is the ball he ripped to right center field. He went down and got it. It's a 2-strike pitch. And then later on had that double to left center field. Hey, now through the end of the month, you can replay every non-winning scratch ticket and a second chance drawing at ColoradoLottery.com. 2-2. Stewart moved the average last night from 106 up to the aforementioned 141. Inside, ball 4. So a 1-out walk for Stewart, and that'll bring up Iannetta. Well, who wants tacos, fans? Remember, when the Rockies score 7 or more during any ball game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6 to pick up your Rockies taco special. I hope you did that earlier this evening.
Yeah, and all the home games so far have been pretty good for Taco Bell and the fans. They've averaged 8 runs per game, or scored 8 or more, I should say, in all 4 home games.
Yeah, in the month of July. Iannetta takes a ball. Well, I mentioned the Rockies are 23 and 22 at home. Last year they won 52 games here. In 09, 51. 07, the World Series year, they won 51. You get the picture. The Rockies, I think, always will have to be a 50-plus win team at home to hope to participate in the postseason.
I would agree. And now with the ball club, talking yesterday, with 70 games to go, they had 45 and 25. That's almost the number. That puts you at 88 wins. I don't know that would win the National League West. It sure would put you in a position in September to get there.
And your point's well taken. The Rockies have to play outstanding baseball in the second half.
And to win 50 games at home, they've got to go 27-9. There's 36 left.
That's special baseball, but it's something we've seen them do in different periods. And when the Rockies have it going, as they have 3 of the last 4 years at home, teams just don't want to come in here and play. It's just a nightmare.
Well, particularly short series. I mean, 2 games, 3 game series, because typically you get blown up, your bullpen does, if you don't have for lack of a better term, a stud is your leadoff guy coming out of that rotation, you got a chance of getting busted up pretty good. In your bullpen, that affects you not only when you're here, it affects you the next 3 or 4 days when you leave here. And that's what they hate about coming to Coors Field and playing in this ballpark.
2-2 on Iannetta with Stewart at first. And Iannetta, strikeout victim, 2 outs.
And one pitch he loves to throw, and he has very good command of it, is the curveball changeup mix off the fastball. And that was a good curveball. And a less velocity, a little bit of the Randy Wolf flip me up curveball, but it's the positioning of the pitch and the selling point of the body action. Chris chased a bad pitch down in the dirt. You end up with a strikeout.
And DeCasio takes a strike. Oh, 2 on Juan. Rockies up 1-0, bottom of 2. And the third strikeout for Chris Narveson. So Stewart, who walked, left at first base. We'll go to the third. 1-0 Colorado. Rockies baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by your neighborhood Toyota stores. Toyota, moving forward. By AT and by King Soopers, more value for the way you live. Friday night at the ballpark, Rockies playing the Brewers, a 4-game set, and then the Atlanta Braves will come in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night, and Thursday afternoon. Bottom third of the order coming up from Milwaukee. Time for the Excel Energy high efficiency inning. Last inning for the Brewers. Fly ball to right after a base hit by Prince Fielder. Then Nicasio got Yuniesky Betancourt to hit into a 6-4-3. Good play by Tulowitzki and Ellis. Learn about energy efficiency and how to save energy and money in your home by visiting responsiblebynature.com. Here's the 0-1 on Craig Counsell. Ground ball up the middle. Tulowitzki with the good range and in time to get Counsell. Craig Counsell is really in a funk. He's 0 for his last 29 at the plate.
And that may be something they look for. I hope not. I mean, Craig Counsell's always been a very productive player off the bench, particularly late in games. But it may be an avenue they have to explore for a left-handed bat late in the game for their ball club, for them to contend in the National League Central.
Lucroy takes a pitch off the plate. And another chance for Tulowitzki to range to his left. Oh, pretty similar to the play just made on Counsell. 2 outs. Well, the Brewers are an enigma. They are absolutely marvelous at home, and they're downright awful on the road. They have the worst record in the National League on the road, 16-30. They've lost 11 of their last 14 road games. They're hitting .234 out on the road, 25th in Major League Baseball. The Rockies, by the way, they can relate. They're at .229, which is 26th in baseball. In terms of runs scored on the road, the Brewers have scored 161 runs, the Rockies 158. So very similar numbers. The difference is what we were alluding to last inning, George, the fact that the Brewers are a dominant team at Miller Park. The Rockies, traditionally so at Coors Field, have not been thus far in 2011.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at their ball club, they have some guys that can really throw the baseball. They have a very good bullpen. On the backside of things, you're thinking, wow. I mean, when you start talking about road and home, it's such a drastic difference from the on-base percentage to the team batting average to the home runs and runs scored.
1-2 on Narveson, who can swing the bat. He fouls this off. .258 career hitter. Anytime you talk about a pitcher's stats and a 2 comes first
good
on the batting average, you know he's pretty good. And the Brewers Park is offensive friendly, just like Coors Field.
These are the kind of pitchers that drive you crazy with a bat, because they foul off, so they're just good enough. They foul off some of your nastiest pitches, and what happens, it drives your pitch count up. And he's fouled off 4 or 5 now. And you know, now all of a sudden a pitch count was cruising along pretty good with 2 outs, sits at 37. Still a good number.
Well, he went to the slider and he missed. 2-2. Ron Renicky, no matter what happens here with Narveson, is going to be pleased with the at bat. Not too many pitchers, George, are fouling off 96, 97 with that frequency.
You could tell by how many pitches they've thrown when the umpire looks to the dugout and asks the ball boy to bring in 4 new or 5 new ones all the time, because they carry about 6 in their pouches.
Good number with a 2-2 count and 2 outs in the 3rd inning. Just 39 pitches thrown. He had a chance to get out of this inning in the mid-30s through 3 innings. Here's the 2-2 to Narveson again, and it's on the ground to second. Oh, another strong inning for Nicasio. Rockies have a 1-0 lead. Dexter Fowler will lead things off when we come back.
As we are in the bottom of the third inning, time now for our second question from the fans for Drew and George. And guys, Ed quickly from Colorado Springs wants to know if you prefer playing the hot hand, in terms of pitching matchups, or if you would rather have an everyday solid lineup out there on the field every single day. Now, you hear the term pitching matchup all the time. What is your preference, George? We'll start with you. Do you favor playing the hot hand, or do you want to see an everyday lineup out there?
Well, personally, I like to see the stability of a lineup that will perform and stay together pretty much day in and day out. I think the hard thing with that, you have to have a stable lineup to do that. So, I mean, you look at the really good teams that are winning, they have that stable lineup of each position guy. They don't battle. Some have injuries to deal with, but it's a stable lineup every day. And for me, if you have a stable lineup you believe in, over the course of time, they're going to win baseball games.
Couldn't agree with you more. And I would make the analogy, George, to what you talk about quite a bit in the bullpen. Defined roles. Guys know, hey, when the phone rings, it's the seventh inning on the plus side. I know I'm getting up. Eighth inning, same thing. Well, I believe offensively, teams that really roll know that, hey, I'm the leadoff hitter. I hit 4-hole. I hit 7-hole. And are there going to be occasional changes to that? Days off for the catcher, that sort of thing? Absolutely. But unless you have just striking numbers, somebody on your bench like a Spilborghs is 10 for 15 against a certain guy.
Day in and day out, you should be able to walk in the locker room and see your name and not worry about where your name is. This ball is going to be popped up. Counsel more than likely to make a play. And what I mean by that, and I get in, I get dressed, and I know I'm hitting leadoff if I'm Dexter Fowler. I know I'm Mark Ellis, I'm hitting second. All those things play into it, and that's why I said, it would be nice to have the stability of that lineup. But how do you get a stable lineup is by the performance of those players day in and day out.
Stewart and Tulowitzki making their way down the concourse. One out, and here's Mark Ellis. Ball and a strike on Ellis. Chris Narveson, some of you may know, was born in Inglewood. Didn't go to high school in the state. Those are the 8 Colorado natives. This is down the third base line. And Mark Ellis will have the Rockies' third double of the night. No singles yet tonight. 3 doubles.
And 2 of those doubles have been right down the third base line on pitches on the inner half of the plate. Good job of getting ahead of the bat out early. The difficult part is keeping it in fair territory with that ball pouring in on a right-handed hitter. He did just that inside the third base bag for a 1-out double.
Safe at second, safe and secure New York life. Todd Helton caught looking on a breaking ball. It was just off the outside corner. Slider for a strike. Just to finish the thought, 8 players were born in the state of Colorado who are in the big leagues right now. That doesn't mean that there aren't other guys. Luke French, for one, who went to Heritage High School. They may have been born somewhere else.
Well, Headley's a guy. Is he on that list?
Yeah,
Headley's another guy.
Yeah,
Chase Headley. This was San Diego. He came here when his father was a coach. He is there. Is he born here?
He was. Yep.
You've been tricking me all these years on Chase Headley.
And that's called a strike, 1 and 2. When Todd doesn't like a call, he takes a walk. He just took a walk there. Boy, look how far up the middle Betancourt's playing, George. I mean, Helton wears out that 5.5 hole. And that's a flare to center. It's going to drop. And here's Ellis testing the arm of Nigel Morgan, and he will score. Helton with his 42nd RBI. Very good read by Mark Ellis. And the Rockies lead it 2-0.
Let's pick up Richie Dower, too. Give a little credit there. Helton flared that ball into left field, and he did it on an off-speed pitch again. See, he just kind of flipped it. It's like a slider. And then Richie Dower is sending him all the way, too, with Mark Ellis, because he wants to make sure they apply the pressure and continue to apply the pressure. Ellis held up halfway to short, and then Richie's like, no, we're going to force the arm of Morgan. We're going to send you. And the throw was well short, and the Rockies lead it 2-0.
And here's Tulowitzki. He doubled his first time. Just got under this one. Nyjer Morgan in center field waiting. Two outs, a run in. Ty Wigginton will come up. Windshield damage, call Safelite Auto Glass. The number is 303-287-5000, or go to safelight.com. Partner, good all-star break?
Had a great all-star break. Did a lot of work around the house, repaired sprinklers, went to the farm, set up a deer feeder. It's wonderful. 106 degrees every day. I went to the weight loss camp. So drink a lot of water and sweat.
We were down in Orlando.
Oh, you were really hot.
And let me tell you what.
Humidity.
Tulsa didn't have anything in the heat index factor on Orlando.
Humidity is a lot of fun in Orlando. Man, oh man. The only place I can think hotter than that, here's a ground ball over to Betancourt. They'll finish it off with the flip of the week, is New Orleans in the middle of the summer. They're about equal.
That's a hot place also. 2-0 Rockies. Helton is 42nd ribby. Two to nothing, trying to build momentum at home. Let's take a look at our Suzuki Farm Report. Suzuki Auto's all-wheel drive lineup. Suzuki, the power of engineering. EY 3 for 4 last night, a couple of ribbies. Springs went down. Hector Gomez back healthy again. Keep your fingers crossed. Hector's battled so many injuries so far in his development.
Yeah, Dan Houston pitched really well last night for the Tulsa Drillers. They lost the ballgame 5-1. He left with a 2-1 deficit. The bullpen blew it up beyond that.
I know you've seen this kid, George. He plays with Parker, Josh Rutledge at Alabama. He's a good-looking kid.
Really good-looking kid. He's a kid with some power, shortstop, taken as a high draft pick by the Rockies, and he is a very good ball player. And Dustin Garneau is a catcher in Asheville. Has hit well this year, 280 to 290 range for the majority of the year. 1 for 4 with a home run last night and 3 RBIs. Garneau has hit, if I'm not mistaken now, because I read the minor leagues daily, I think it's 5 out of the last 6 games has hit a home run.
One and one on Ricky Weeks. Weeks put the ball on the ground to Tulowitzki his first time. Good slider, George. And that's the mix that's going to have to occur now this second time through the lineup.
There's no question. That's exactly what's going to have to end up happening. And again, he's utilized his fastball for the majority of this ball game, 75% of the time, compared to the off-speed pitch, which is a changeup slider, 24% of the time.
1-2 on Weeks. He fed him a fastball, and you get a towering fly ball to right field. Spilborghs is there, and Weeks is retired.
Well, it's that second time through the lineup and what they have done against Nicasio. This is where it becomes alarming. You see, first time through, the opposition's 200 average, but that second time, and that's where the Yankees and the Atlanta Braves got after him, 371 average. And then that third time through, if he's able to get there, which he has against the Cardinals, he has against the Royals, he's handled that situation very well.
Our related conversation I had with Jeff Francoeur of the Royals about Juan Nicasio. He said, you know what, he's got a live arm, no question about his fastball. He said, but he's going to have to develop something else, because just to the stat we showed, he goes, second, third time through, he goes, good big league teams are going to tear up that fastball. You got to have something else. And he's learning on the job. Oh, Niger Morgan said he got hit. Eddie Rapuano said it hit the bat.
Well, Niger's not arguing either. So, you know, when you see that situation where he's not going to argue the point with him, Ron Renicki's going to come out and just question Eddie, and Eddie's going to say, no, I didn't see it. We'll look at it again right here. It did catch him in the elbow.
Yeah, nowhere near the bat.
Nowhere near the bat. Oh, well, you missed one. The best part is it's a strike.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a strike.
And a ground ball up the middle and under Ellis's glove. That eluded both Nicasio and Ellis. Morgan's going for two. The throw on a short hop, and Morgan, that's the way he plays. That's a real heads up kind of motivating play. Club's down a couple of runs, and he took advantage of the fact that everybody assumed, hey, it's just a single.
It's a hustle play is what this is. He's going to watch Dexter Fowler in the outfield. Dexter kind of nonchalant went after the ball, and he never stopped. His gear stayed at full speed. Now, ball caught by Tulowitzki, he's probably out. But he slides to the infield side. Tulo's trying to grab the ball and tag. Now you end up with a lead, one out double, excuse me. But you're in the heart of this lineup with Braun and fielder right behind him. Braun this year, 354 average with runners in scoring position. That's fifth. Votto leads it with an amazing Little League number of 473.
Well, that's being a catalyst. Niger Morgan at second base, now one out. Braun struck out his first time. Riding a 23-game hitting streak, and that hitting streak was interrupted by a calf injury in which he missed 8 ball games. It also kept him out of the All-Star game. You and I were talking during the break. Hard not to like this guy, particularly offensively. He's one of the, half a dozen, 6, 8, whatever number you want to put on it, best hitters in the game.
Well, and it shows this year the longest hitting streaks this season. Ryan Braun with 23. Andre Ethier got to 30. Hunter Pence on a ball club in Houston. And, of course, Pablo Sandoval with his wonderful return back for San Francisco after a horrible year. And then Ryan Theriot at 20.
Todd just went and borrowed sunglasses from a fan in the stand, George. It's kind of catching on. I believe the fan had the flip downs. Came prepared.
It was interesting to see it all go. Todd's looking up at the sky because he's not a big lightning guy, and it's thundering right now.
Well, who's a big lightning guy other than those storm chasers?
No, they're pretty. Well, thank you. I love to chase storms. I live in Oklahoma. I see tornadoes all the time. I love lightning, thunder.
I'll watch from the living
pretty.
room. This is down the right field line.
Remember, wind may change a direction here because of these storms that are kind of circling around Coors Field right now.
So remember, a lot of rain last night, and then the sun came out, and Prince got caught out there. He didn't have any sunglasses, and somebody yelled from the stands, "Hey, I'll help you."
Well, what was interesting, he was getting booed by the crowd because they didn't understand why he had gone to the dugout. So he thought, well, I'll please the crowd. I'll grab the guy. There he is. He became a hero overnight. He and his wife both. Their cell phones were buzzing for the next 4 innings. And then Prince gave him back to him. Said, I'm all done with him now. And he came back later in the game when the game ended, because he's all business when the game's going on. He came back and signed a ball for him and gave it and thanked him for allowing him to use his use of glasses. Now, Chris not happy with what's going on here. Change up at 82, but it's a reading of the pitches and the location of the pitch. That one missed badly to even count 1-1.
You know, Chris realizes this is already one of those situations, still relatively early in the baseball game, but you got two guys coming up that are as good as it gets in the game in Braun and Fielder.
Run producers.
Inside, 2-1. The other thing, you know, Braun forces you to throw strikes. Prince Fielder, George, has walked 60 times. They know their strike zone.
Well, they understand what they're here for, and they're looking for that pitch to do the most damage from. So if you don't get it into the damage zone, they're not going to swing at it. You bet, and they're not going to chase balls. Very rarely will they chase balls out of the zone. Braun chased a high fastball.
Daylight play.
Snapped right out of the end of glove. Basically kind of hit at the same time as Morgan came back into second.
Two and one on Braun. And a ground ball to short. And they'll go to third. Morgan's out.
Great play by Tulowitzki. A decision that had to be made in a split second. And he did just that. And then he had to throw the strike to third base. That's where you think sometimes speed will run you into outs, because you think Tulowitzki on the break. You see, that ball was all the way by Morgan by the time he started to advance to third base. That really allowed Tulowitzki to just pivot on that right foot and then fire the strike to third base right on the money to Ian Stewart.
Really a bad decision, because with one out already, there's not a lot to gain by taking that risk.
Typically when Prince Fielder hits the ball, it's far enough and long enough you can score from second. Tulowitzki right now 5 assists and a put out of the 11 outs in the ball game. I think he's involved.
He typically is. Braun, who typically runs well, again, he's nursing a calf injury.
Last night when he hit that double on his first at bat into right center, he really turned the corner and turned it up a little bit. Maybe he's playing a little sneaky like the Wolf, you know. He's hiding in the weeds, and my calf hurts, I don't really feel good, and then all of a sudden you look up and he's got his 20th stolen base.
Pretty valuable commodity, a 3-hole hitter. It's kind of like cargo.
Great guy. I mean, you know, Jack Zarinsik has told us the story numerous times. When he got into the draft room, Jack, now the Seattle Mariner general manager, and I mentioned it last night on air, that he was in the draft room and he says, who do I take, Braun or Tulowitzki? He said, well, obviously both are all-stars. I would have had good choices either way, and I feel fortunate that, you know, Braun turned out the way he did, and then obviously what Tulowitzki's done. Oh, don't do that again.
Yeah, don't leave that up there. 2-strike count now on Fielder. Very quickly, you talk about Braun and Tulowitzki, and you really could not go wrong. Here's what they've done so far. Braun's been a 4-time All-Star, Tulowitzki twice. 287 career hitter, 100+ home runs for Tulowitzki, 309, 144 for Braun. And these two guys are the closest to friends also.
No, they love the game of baseball. They're baseball rats. That's the positive with them.
Hard smash at Ellis. He knocks it down. He throws to help. And that's all for the Brewers. A 1-out double by Morgan, but Milwaukee does not score. Nothing. Juan Nicasio has looked very good so far. Ryan Spilborghs will lead it off for the Rockies, to be followed by Stuart and Iannetta as we look at our AT&T nightly trivia question. Spilly hit his second career leadoff home run last night. Who holds the Rockies record for leadoff home runs? Spilborghs stays off that. You know who's in the house tonight, George?
Who's in the house tonight?
An old friend, a guy who could really hit.
Who's that?
That man on the left.
This guy right here?
Yeah, Brian
that
Anderson
guy?
On the right. Does a great
Not
job
that
on
guy.
Brewer broadcast. Jeff Cirillo.
There he is, right there.
Jeff does a handful of games, filling in for Billy Schroeder when he takes vacation.
He said this was a boys' trip. He's got his 3 sons with him. I think he said 10, 11, and 13.
Jeff was
spending time here with some friends he made while playing in Colorado. Good for him.
Yeah, he's out on a lake today, messing around with the boys. Relaxed. He had a nice run. Here's the 2-1 on Spilborghs, and that's a strike on the inside corner. 2-2. Spilborghs a career .367 hitter against Milwaukee. He keeps that at bat alive.
Well, his success against Milwaukee coincided with the injury to Gonzalez and then a left-hander on the mound, so he gets back-to-back nights against the team he likes to hit against.
Not this time. Narveson with his 4th strikeout of the ball game. 1 out, and that'll bring up Stewart, who walked his first time. Let's check in with Alana Rizzo. She has tonight's Fast Cash Sideline Report. It's brought to you by Fast Cash Gold Centers, where you'll always get 40% more for your gold. Alana.
Cesar Alfonso, the newest Colorado Rocky, brought up today to join the big club, which brings me to my third question. Buzz and Highlands Ranch wanted to ask you guys, where is the biggest position of strength in terms of our minor league system? Is it with the pitchers or is it a position player? Both of you guys can weigh in on that.
Well, you know, I think it's kind of both 50-50 right now because health issues have created some downfall, to be honest with you. You know, Hector Gomez was a very highly touted shortstop, but has had back issues 2 years in a row, spent DL on time on the DL. Willeen Rosario was on the world team at the Futures game. He had 2nd year into Tulsa. He's hitting .250 and throwing the ball very well. He's still a work in progress as far as calling the baseball game. And then I think pitching wise, and there's other guys. Tim Wheeler obviously is having a tremendous year at Double-A. See that lightning? That was pretty good. And then they have, you know, they have Christian Friedrich, Corey Reardon, and has pitched well in Double-A. I think Scahill, obviously, Rob Scahill, Daniel Houston, who just moved there recently, is throwing the ball well. And in Modesto, there's a guy, Chad Bettis, that'll run the ball. This is going to be a flare. The wind kind of backed up. Nice play for Braun down the left field line. Young guy named Chad Bettis, they took last year as a high draft pick, throws the ball in the mid to upper 90s. He may end up in the bullpen at some time. And then a new kid, a left-hander, Cabrera, that's come up from Asheville, throws the ball well. And then Parker Frazier's there throwing the ball well. So, you know, pitching-wise, there's probably 6 to 7 guys in there that could be in the mix pretty soon. Position-wise, because of injuries, there's been some problems there. Wheeler, as I said at Tulsa, has probably been the one guy that's kind of jumped off the charts. I think he's got 25 home runs now. To also go along with 65, 70 RBIs. He's hitting .315.
Yeah, and Nolan Arenado, high school kid a couple years ago.
Third baseman did a really good job. Third round pick out of Southern Cal.
2-0 Colorado as we go to the 5th. Good. Juan Nicasio's been better. Our Geico quote of the day. Well, whenever Milwaukee's in town, you gotta quote the Uke, right?
Have to.
Career highlights for Bob Uecker. I had 2. I got an intentional walk from Sandy Koufax, and I got out of a rundown against the Mets once.
I'm questioning the intentional walk.
Did he dream that first one, George?
I think there's a chance that just didn't really totally happen.
You could make a case that the Mendoza line should really be called the Uecker line, because Mario Mendoza hit .215 in his big league career.
What Uecker hit?
And Uecker hit right at 200. And the Mendoza line is known as guys that are hitting either below or above 200. So it really should be the Uecker line.
And I want to say this for Bob Uecker, folks. Yeah, you've seen him on Johnny Carson. You've seen him on some of the other shows where he's a very funny comedian. Has done a great job with his career in television. But he is an outstanding play-by-play man in baseball and radio. He is a joy to listen to.
He's fun. And during the broadcasts, he's serious, too. Here's the 1-0. Shattered bat, and Tulo's going to get there, spin, throw to first, get the pick, out at first. Tulowitzki and Helton working their magic.
Well, plays like this, typically it takes a lot of athleticism and then 2 gold glove guys playing catch, and that's exactly what you get here. Jam shot in on the hands of Hart. Big hop for Tulowitzki, and then the strong arm over to Helton with the stretch and pick. Now, it's all about break and instinct, and Tulowitzki did both of those. And for Todd, just trusting the hands to have success of catching the baseball.
Sliders rolled foul. Speaking of rolling, there's some weather rolling in. Hopefully it rolls.
Where do you see any weather? No, that's a long ways away. Doug the weatherman.
I know he's.
Can you go to the green screen, Doug?
First
Let
time
me know what you got.
All year he doesn't have the radar up.
No, he had it up all day yesterday.
Ball and a strike on Betancourt. Overwhelmed him with that heater at 96. And a slider. That's a dirty slider, George. Not only the late movement, but the location. Best of the night.
And you know what? Again, movement is important, obviously, on a slider, but the location is much more important. Appeared to be the fastball and the just disappearing act on the ball as it just dropped out of the strike zone.
Second punch out of the night for Nicasio.
And you'll find with a lot of guys, you bring the strikeout of Nicasio, who was leading the Texas League at the time of his call-up in strikeouts. When you get to the big leagues, and everybody asks this question, why aren't they striking out the same number at the big league level? Better lights and a whole lot better hitters. There's 2 simple reasons why, and the umpiring is much better also. A lot of times at the minor league level, listen, folks, there's a reason the players are in Double-A. There's a reason the umpires in Double-A. They're not as good as the guys here with 3 decks and a whole bunch of lights and fans sitting around watching.
2-strike count on Counsell. 0 for his last 29.
But it also doesn't mean they won't be someday, but you take advantage of those weaknesses.
Counsell next month will turn 41. Again, a reminder coming up in the 6th inning. Do we ever settle on a topic tonight, George?
Well, we talked about one, but I don't think I'll get one. Hold on, keep going.
You know what? The truck has a good idea. Text Toyota followed by a space, and then who would be the first guy and the last guy you'd lend your sunglasses to at a ball game?
Or who's the guy you would give the sunglasses to? Just do that one. Who would you not give?
Nice enough to give National League All-Star MVP Prince Fielder's glasses last night. Here's the 1-2 on Counsell. Pulled foul. Did Prince then go and kick one, George?
No. Yeah, but the sun had gone away by then. It was a fly ball down the right field line.
A great story about Prince Fielder when his dad used to bring him around the ballpark. He's 12 years old. at old Tiger Stadium, and he hit the ball in the upper deck.
All big deal.
Well, it was a big deal.
Yeah, it was a real big deal.
How old's that kid? 12? Where'd he just hit it? Upper tank. 3-2 on Council. That would be the upper tank. On the ground to second. Another strong inning for Nicasio. Couple ground balls and a punch out. Safely through the 5th inning. 2-hit shutout thus far for Juan Nicasio. E470. Find E470 on Facebook and Twitter for details on how to win free tolls. So the Brewers are here through Sunday, and then the very gifted Atlanta Braves are in town. Rockies looking for a little payback. The 4-game set right before the break at Turner Field. The Braves swept the Rockies. This is a huge homestand, George. I mean, you know, there's times in the season where you can say, oh, this is a big game, that's a big game, and it probably falls under the category of hyperbole. But right now, with the Rockies being 8.5 back and, you know, a limited number of games left at home, a lengthy road trip after the Braves leave town, you have to play well here.
Well, you've got to play good baseball. We talked about this a minute ago. They basically got to go 27-9 to get to 50. You know, 50 wins, and that's kind of been the benchmark for a long time. To try to win your divisions, 50 wins at home. The problem is, like last night, you have a great ball game, you win, and then San Francisco wins. So you don't gain anything, and that's where you've got to have San Francisco and Arizona go on a little bit of a losing streak. And quite honestly, as a player, you're looking at it and you're saying, you know what, it doesn't matter till you get to 500. Hey, tomorrow's Rockies photo day. That's one of the neat parts about baseball. They always have photo day around the ballpark, so come early to get photos with your favorite players and coaches and all fans who will receive a 2011 Rockies team poster. So make sure you show up for that tomorrow at the ballpark. The gates will open at 3:15 for the 6:10 start tomorrow.
And the Rockies only have 7 games left against San Francisco. And they've not played well against the Giants this year.
Well,
better help. You know what they better hope? The commissioner says, hey, we're going to send the Padres in to play the Giants 15 more times.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
The Padres, they're the only team that figures out AT&T Park.
Dodgers in Arizona, they're deadlocked after 2 innings there. You remember Enright, the right-hander?
Barry Enright.
Yeah, Barry Enright has been at AAA. For the last, he got sent down when we were there. Remember, he made the start, got knocked out in the third, and sent him down. He's 9-2 in AAA in Reno right now, and hasn't been brought up.
Kind of a finesse guy.
Yeah, but he could be somebody they might turn to if he continues to pitch well there.
3-0 on Fowler. And a 4-pitch walk. I don't think that's the guy Narveson wanted to put on. So Dexter, in his return to the lineup, a double and a run scored in the first. He popped out in the third. Now he draws a 1-out walk here in the fifth.
Now Dexter's also got to get very efficient at stealing bases and setting things up. And I think that's something that he worked on down there with Rene Latchman, as well as the hitting part of things. Pretty straightforward move. That's not the A move. Be careful if you're a base runner on that move from Narveson.
A tough sun for Prince Fielder right now. Where's his glasses guy?
Same kind as last night. Is that little shoot of sunlight that just, for whatever reason, hits a 6-foot first baseman right in the eye.
Well, then it'd go over Prince's head.
Yeah.
Not 6 foot.
But here it comes now. About another 3 or 4 minutes as Dexter fights it too before it sets. And here comes the glasses again. Same guy's not there, so he didn't get to borrow.
Some folks applauding in the stands. One strike count on Mark Ellis. And a throw over to check on Dexter. Wells Fargo customers, get your 2-for-1 Rockies tickets today by going to wellsfargo.com/Rockies. See a Wells Fargo banker for details. Wells Fargo Bank, member FDIC. That move to the plate there had Dexter heading back to the bag. It's tough to read from a base stealer's perspective. Oh, the righty Georgie, watch that back heel.
Nice part about these left-handers, if they don't have the step-off move, it helps you adjust a little bit. This went in with the slide step. This may bloop into the outfield, so although Braun can run a little bit, he'll get there. And what I mean about that is you get a guy that can step off the back of the rubber with his foot and make that snap throw sidearm, and they do it quickly. They're really good at it. Dave Righetti had a great move like that. Randy Wolf with the Brewers has a move like that to mix in with all the others that they feature.
This next replay is brought to you by the Colorado Lottery. Now through the end of the month, you can replay every non-winning scratch ticket at coloradolottery.com. Third inning, Todd Helton got an off-speed pitch, and he kept the bat in the zone long enough to flare it out to left center field. Roger Morgan had to field out a hop. Mark Ellis scored standing up. The Rockies' second run. Big gap in right center field for Helton. Got a 1-0 count, George. Here you gamble if you're Dexter?
Well, you know, I think if you had speed at the plate, you might do that. I think here you've got to be very in tune with it. I think you have a guy at the plate that really swings the bat well. He doesn't strike out often. That I'd almost throw a hit and run on with Todd first and see if I might get a first and third situation out of it versus a straight steal. Against Narveson, he picked up another RBI, and that last at bat, he's 5 for 9 now with a home run. He's only struck out twice against him in those 9 at bats.
Dex was 2 of 8 stealing bases, which is really not good, obviously, before he got hurt and then was sent out. And he only attempted 3 stolen bases in the Springs. He was successful twice.
Well, he had a lot bigger fish to fry in the Springs, and that was to hit the baseball. You know, that other stuff's going to come along. But, I mean, he was not swinging the bat well. When he got down there, he was struggling to the beginning till the last 10 games. So his focus was reworking his stance at the plate to have success. And obviously did that, hit 385. Oh, I'm liking those.
Got something in my eye, though.
Yeah, but I like those. Those are nice. If they had those in the adult size, you could send some to Prince.
Kid's incognito tonight. Skipping out on something, doesn't want anybody to know.
Yeah. I was digging around at my mom's house over the break, and I found an old pair of flip sunglasses that the band had wore out on. I wore in high school.
There goes Dexter, big jump, and the throw's not going to get it. See if the Rockies can steal a run now. Dexter out there for Helton. Todd's got a 2-2 count.
Yeah, good throw, too. I mean, just a huge jump by Dexter. That's what put him in a position there. That's nice to see.
Three and 2 with Tulowitzki on deck. Narveson has pitched much better tonight at Coors Field than he traditionally has. 2 runs for the Rockies, just 4 hits as he works with 2 outs in the 5th inning. Had an ERA well above 5 coming in at Coors Field. So he walks Helton, and Tulowitzki will come up with 2 aboard. Second walk in the inning, 3rd walk tonight by Chris Narveson. Troy Tulowitzki since June 1st has driven in 27 runs. Tied for 5th in the National League in ribbies in that time frame. Aramis Ramirez #1, then Prince Fielder #2. Strike on Troy, double and a fly ball to center field. Rockies did an extraordinary job last night. Anytime you get 20 hits, you're going to do that, you assume. And that's hitting with runners in scoring position. 8 of 19 last night. And Troy drives it to left center field. That'll get Dexter home. Helton will get to third base. Niger Morgan did a great job keeping that ball from running to the wall. A bullet double for Tulowitzki, make it 3-0 Colorado.
I know you're going to think this is crazy at home, but really what all this transpired is really what I call Rockies baseball right now. Dexter Fowler walks, steals a base, Helton walks, and then now by Helton walking, you bring up your best run producer in Troy Tulowitzki, who had swung the bat well in 2 previous at-bats. He capitalizes here with a line drive in left field. Dexter scores easily. Tulowitzki picks up his 59th RBI. And you get to have that wonderful pitchers meeting at the mound now. Need to get the ball down. I know. He hit that hard. I know. how to attack that next hitter. And really, for him right now, for Narveson, the big thing is runners at second and third and 2 outs. You need to make a pitch here. Base hit by Wigington can blow this game up in a heartbeat, make it 5-0 in a hurry.
Wigington has twice hit it on the ground to short, and he does it a third time. In the inning, Tulowitzki comes through with an RBI 2-out double, and the Rockies get another run. It's 3-zip after 5.
Nothing Rockies, top of the 6th inning. The wind is picking up and it is starting to sprinkle out here as I am in left field. Time now for our next question. You guys were just talking about the Rockies being at 8.5 games back in the division. Diane Varnell of Durango wants to know from both of you realistically what you think in terms of the Rockies, and realistically at the beginning of September, how many games back can they be and still make the playoffs, guys? Thoughts?
Well, you'd like it at worst case scenario to be 5.
3 or 4 maybe.
Yeah, I mean 5's really.
And a reason why I say that, you're playing 16 games in the month of September against the National League West, but they're spread out, and you have San Francisco where they're very difficult at home the last 3 games. That's not going to be easy.
Hey, part of the equation, the Rockies have made their own bet, but part of the equation, as we talked about earlier, 7 more with the Giants. You can't go 3 and 4. You got to. I think minimum you probably got to win 5 of those 7, don't you, George?
Well, you do. I mean, you got to be able to make up ground, and again, you're in a situation now where you're playing that. You know, these 2 teams, you've got to play well against the Brewers in Atlanta. Then you're going Arizona, San Diego, LA. You've got to play well on that road. It's a 9 or 10 game road trip. You have to win 60% of those games to climb back in and make a statement of where you want to be.
2 balls and a strike on Lucroy. Narveson for the moment is on deck. 6th inning. Brewers trailing 3-0. And for those wondering about the wild card, we keep focusing on the division. The wild card's more out of reach right now than the division. The Rockies are 10 behind the Braves in the wild card race. And the Braves don't look like they're going to be fading, not with that pitching staff.
No, and they don't have Chipper Jones right now. They're really not that concerned about Chipper now. They just obviously want him for September when they think he'll be back well before then. But this is a deal where you're going to have to win the West. Pretty simple. Atlanta over Washington 11-1 already here tonight.
And it's Hudson on the hill.
Chipper hopes to be back on the field July 25th.
And the Giants have scored the 1st inning against the Padres down at Petco.
Clayton Kershaw's on the hill for the Dodgers. Arizona hasn't scored yet. Surprise.
Yeah, Lincecum's on the hill for the Giants. Good pitch there. Nicasio with his 3rd strikeout. Boy, he has thrown a dandy of a ball game so far against a very good lineup.
Yes, he has. He's done a very good job of keeping the ball down in the zone, away from hitters' power spots. And McCrory really likes the ball middle half in. Chased the ball a little bit off the strike zone there, but it's okay. Let him keep chasing.
Got a top-heavy lineup.
How about that? The guy said he would like to have Johnny Herrera's sunglasses, and the last person, he didn't like Dingers because they were too big.
Give Clint Barmas and the last guy, Heath Bell.
Heath had a nice little pop-up slide at the All-Star game. I just happened to be at the mound.
Yeah, I'd never quite seen that before.
I had not either.
Help get a lot of sunglasses. 0-2 on Narveson. Strike 3. Narveson's at the plate saying, wait a second, I was all geared up for 97 and you took a couple clicks off.
Yeah, really, sure did. And that's all right. I just like the fact of the location of the pitch. Backing off velocity-wise, yet keeping your location, pretty good deal. He was able to do it there. 63 fastballs right now, 14 off-speed pitches. 2-hit shutout, and you're in the 6th. Pretty happy with that.
He's really located well with that fastball. Ricky Weeks a ground ball to short, and then a fly ball to right field. He went with a slider to begin with, missed badly, 1-0. Couldn't trust Brian Wilson with your sunglasses, huh? Brian Wilson tends to be a polarizing figure, George, outside of the Bay Area, huh?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have grown to like him, I guess. I don't see a lot of those beards other than just San Francisco.
2-1. And a slider's popped up and playable. Spilborghs will make the catch, and that is 8 in a row, set down by Juan Nicasio. Middle of 6, it's all Colorado. Of the 6th inning, Spilborghs will lead it off. Hockey's hoping to continue to add on. Our AT&T trivia question once again: who holds Colorado's record for leadoff home runs. Billy hit one last night, the second of his career. And it's Eric Young Sr. He hit 8 between 93 and 97. George, you remember the first one he hit?
Yeah, it happened over at that other ballpark.
Yeah, there were a few folks there that day. At 80,000 some odd. Cargo's already got 5 in a Rockies uniform. Nafy, now the funny thing, we love Nafy. Nafy hit 4. And when Nafy would hit one, Don Baylor would put his head down and say, oh man, it's going to be a week worth of watching him hit fly balls. This ball's well hit to center, but Nigel Morgan ran to a spot and makes the catch. 1 out.
First 10,000 to the game on Tuesday. They're going to receive Hebrew National Dollar hot dog coupons. So make sure you get out to the ballpark July 19th. The Atlanta Braves will be in town.
I was going to say, heard from somebody recently. We were talking about Nafy on the road. Nafy's in the. Oh, that's a beautiful bunt stay. Fair. It did not. So Stewart will come back in his native Dominican Republic. He has a business down there doing exceptionally well. Comes from a family of very accomplished brothers and sisters. Be good to see him again.
Doctor,
it's been a while.
Yeah. Doctor and a dentist in the family. Dad is an educator there along with mom.
Somebody's a musician too.
One of them. Stewart
a walk and a fly ball to left field. Here's the 0-1 from Narveson, and a big curveball misses.
In all honesty, Narveson spits pretty well too. I mean, Nicasio 2-hit shutout overshadows anything that's gone on in this game. Narveson 5 hits, 3 runs. At a Coors Field outing, and here he is in the 6th inning. Not a bad day at the yard either.
And a strike call, 2-2. Pretty good job there by Stewart to foul off that break ball. One of the things Narveson does, George, it's got to be difficult for a hitter, is he varies the timing of his delivery. Sometimes, you know, he's kind of methodical going to the plate, and other times he goes very quickly.
He has to do that to help utilize all of his tools as a pitcher. But it's all about arm speed and location for him and selling pitches. And if he happens to get that, then it's okay. But otherwise, he can struggle through it sometimes.
Asheville, North Carolina, born in Englewood, Colorado, but went to high school in Asheville. Ricky Weeks will throw out Stewart, 2 outs. And that'll bring up Iannetta. Ball and a strike on Chris. Again, the update on Carlos Gonzalez. Took 2 different sets of batting practice today. Really had a good round out on the field.
The early one really good. Really kind of got after it against Richie Dower, third base coach. Was hitting a lot of balls. And I don't look so much for the balls pulled. I look for the balls in the opposite field. Now, most hitters have told me when they battle this type of an injury, it's not the contact that gets them, it's the swing and miss follow-through with the power swing that gets him.
And the big key will be how Cargo reacts tomorrow morning, how it feels. If it feels good, we may see him in the lineup tomorrow night. Brought to you by Coors Light. Niger Morgan at second tries to cross in front of Troy Tulowitzki. Bad idea. Perfect throw and a great tag from Ian Stewart. And Morgan's cut down 6-5. Rockies leading 3-0. Juan Nicasio on the top of the 7th will face Niger Morgan, Ryan Braun, and Prince Fielder. So this is a large inning. The thick part of that Milwaukee lineup. And so far the breakdown tonight in terms of pitches, again 75+% have been fastballs. He's got to work off that. The key, George, is the off-speed pitches. He's thrown enough for strikes. He's kept the hitters honest.
He just made you aware that it's there. I think that's the big thing. He's just made them aware of the fact, hey, I've got this in my hip pocket. I may just throw it to you. Pretty good athlete, can get off the mound, but Niger Morgan, who hit a hustle double his last time up, will try to work the count. But, you know, again, 83 pitches, 56 strikes. He's pounding the zone. I don't think he's going to start throwing balls this late. 10 ground ball outs, 7 strikeouts.
And Morgan's behind 0-2. Well, Chris Iannetta was talking about Juan Nicasio and what he needed to do tonight and in the future.
Try not to be one-dimensional, even though that's his strength at right now. You know, down the road, you know he's going to have a really good slider, and his changeup's going to get even better than it already is. So, but it's just a matter of waiting until then. You know, just let him develop, give him time, and you know, just try to create as much deception as you can with a fastball.
You know what, and Chris has done a good job guiding him tonight. Called an excellent game. That just missed 2-2. George, but I know you look at demeanor on a mound, and this young man has it.
He has that chip on his shoulder, the focus, concentration, very poised. But I also look, if you're going out there with maybe 1-2 pitches, you better have command of those and continue to hold the velocity deep into a ball game, and he does that. I mean, he's at 94 that last pitch, and he's typically pounded the zone fairly well. He's hit the target of where Chris has wanted to go pretty consistently tonight. Fastball away.
Ground ball up the middle. Tulo's not going to be able to get this one, and Morgan has his second hit of the night. That ends a run of 8 consecutive retired by Nicasio. So Morgan reaches on a 3-2 single, and that'll bring up Ryan Braun. Time for tonight's CenturyLink high-speed pitch. Narveson tops out at 90, and Nicasio has hit 97 a bunch of times this evening. He was basically sitting on 97 in the first inning, in fact. Braun with that 23-game hitting streak 0 for 2 tonight.
Matt Reynolds has gotten up in the Rockies bullpen and going pretty quick along with Matt Belisle. It's a strike, mislocation down the way. The Rockies in Major League Baseball tomorrow fun are holding a baseball equipment drive at all gates before tomorrow's game. Remember, that's photo day and equipment day tomorrow here at the ballpark. So it's all benefiting your local youth baseball program. So please take part in that tomorrow.
This may be a two-pronged attack, George. If Braun reaches, you see Reynolds to face Fielder.
He's got to get ready first. You won't see that often. That slider was huge. It moved well off of the plate. He overemphasized because the last thing he wanted to do was hang this to a right-handed hitter with power. So it started. I mean, you see the long whiff and swing by Braun. And again, that's fastball command away, velocity away. And he didn't want to get beat by it, so he started early. Saito's warming up for the Brewers.
Well, you don't normally see Braun chase that badly. It almost looked like that was a hit and run mode. The runner didn't go. It was strange, George, because that started way off the plate.
Yes, it did. But that's why I said he didn't want to get beat with a fastball away. He was thinking opposite field, and then the ball just broke away and down away from him where he could make no contact.
Make him chase again. Here's the 0-2. Ground ball to third. Stewart, nice pickup. There's one on the first double play. Boy, that was a nice pickup, George, an in-between hop for Ian Stewart.
He did that last night on a play also, and he did it very efficiently on a short hop. He snapped it over to Ellis. Ellis with a very strong arm. It's a 100th double play. It leads the National League. And the Rockies get a nice play by Stewart. Quick turn by Ellis and on the money. And you can see here, Stewart just braced himself, rotated the body to try to let the ball carry as deep as he could to catch it on a little better hop, and then the snap throw to second.
Well, Mark Ellis did a great job. Got his spikes out of the ground, made a perfect throw to Helton. Good hard-nosed play by Morgan going in on him, and that's 100 double plays turned by the Rockies year in and year out, with Troy Tulowitzki kind of captaining the middle of that infield. The Rockies lead the league in double plays turned. I think it helps to have the vacuum at first and Helton to clean up any throws in the dirt. I mean, how big is that? I mean, Nicasio now 2 outs, nobody on. Fielder, even if he hits it 8 miles, it's still a 2-run Rockies lead.
Well, what it really does, you know, that's fine.
If the shift's on, it's going to probably be a double, but you're right.
That's his 29th base hit to the left side of the infield this year. 73 hits to the right side.
2 guys have all the hits, George. Morgan's 2 for 3, and Fielder's 2 for 3. Casio's allowed 4 hits. And with 2 outs in the 7th inning, Corey Hart, fly ball to right field and ground ball to short, will step in. Hart takes a strike. And a chopper to third. Stewart on the move. Perfect throw. And Juan Nicasio, despite a couple of hits, does not give up a run. It's 3-0 Colorado, stretch time at Coors Field. Francis look back. We begin in the third inning. The Rockies already had a 1-0 lead. Todd Helton's at the plate. He's driven in a few runs in his career, and he drove in another tonight. Mark Ellis, who had doubled, comes around, and that made it 2-0 Colorado. Then in the fifth inning, Troy Tulowitzki with 2 outs at the plate, and he smoked one to left center field. Dexter Fowler, who had reached on a walk, stolen second, cruised home. Now, Chris Narveson really pitched good baseball. 3 runs in 6 innings. Most of the time you'll take at Coors Field, except the guy on the other side has been a little bit better tonight. Juan Nicasio. Takashi Saito, after 6 innings of Chris Narveson, will take over.
And a great job that he's done after being on the DL for a while. This is his 6th appearance. This is one of those closers we talked about as he closed for the Los Angeles Dodgers along with LaTroy Hawkins. And then you've had Axford, who's there, and then of course the new acquisition of Rodriguez.
Well, Seth Smith will pinch hit for Nicasio. 7 shutout innings for Juan Nicasio. A chance to move to 4-0 at Coors Field for Juan. Job well done, young man. Here's the 1-0 to Smith.
1 walk in the ball game for Nicasio. It didn't come to the 7th inning. A leadoff walk to Morgan. That's how good Nicasio was of utilizing the strike zone. I want to take that back. Nicasio did not walk a man in the ball game. Nigel Morgan singled in the 7th.
2-1 on Smith. Rockies have won 14 of their last 17 against the Milwaukee Brewers here at Coors Field. The top of the order has been good tonight. Bottom of the order terrific last night. The whole lineup, obviously, when you get 20 hits, performed well. Smith's got himself in a fastball count against Saito. Not throwing quite as hard, George, as he once did.
In the mid-90s when he first came over, but he also pitched in a lot of games in Japan. So now it's more about location, and then he'll throw that split at times too. This is a guy that knows what he's doing.
Remember, George, he would really, I mean, some pitchers, you say they varies the speed on his fastball. Saito would throw anywhere literally from about 88 to 96. Here's the 3-2. Tough right now for Saito to pitch in back-to-back ball games. And this is shot through the left side. There was a shift on. And Smith found an open space for a leadoff single here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Let's see what Alana Rizzo's up to. Alana?
All right, guys, wanted to check in with you once again for our 5th question of the night. And to be honest with you, I got this question asked a lot. This is from Rick Gonzalez of Colorado Springs. He says, with the MLB trade deadline approaching, what do you two consider to be the Rockies' biggest need?
I think they probably need another starting pitcher.
I would agree with that. They're not growing on trees, though, so it's not going to be easy to find.
Dexter in his return to the lineup. A double and a run scored. in the first, and then he walked, stole a base, and scored the Rockies' third run in the fifth. George, he's hitting out of more of a crouch now.
A little bit more of a crouch. I think his hands are in a better position to get to the baseball. I think that's one thing for sure. As I look, watch his swings and batting practice today, and he seemed to have just confidence swinging the bat today. I mean, a different type of attitude for Dexter Fowler.
Big jump from Seth Smith, and he'll have to come back. 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, that's a great Jim Tracy situation. You have a little bit of a lead late in the ball game, and you have one of your, not necessarily base stealers on, but one of the guys that's a pretty good athlete, and you run the surprise running game. And it's paid off. I mean, Wigginton's got 5 stolen bases in similar situations this year. And Dexter hits it on the ground to Weeks. There's 1, and the throw to first. He's going to double up Dexter Fowler. 4-6-3 on the turn. How about Mark Ellis? He's got 15 hits in a Rockies uniform, and 9 have gone for extra bases. A couple of home runs, 7 doubles. Isn't that what the cleanup guys usually do?
Yeah, he likes to wear black.
Yes.
He likes wearing a thing that says Colorado across his chest. It's all good stuff.
He's pro's pro. And this ball's well hit to left. And it is off the base of the wall, and Mr. Double, Mark Ellis, his 8th double. You know, after that little spiel we did on him, he couldn't go out there and just get a single, right?
No, that'd be too easy, wouldn't it? Yeah, I mean, you got to come up, swing the bat, get a fastball in or half, and the double play erased any opportunity for an RBI with this. I don't think cap it off because he seems to get a lot of RBIs to go along with these extra base hits. This one right off the base of the wall and played back in.
Well, here's a matchup we've seen before. Takashi Saito and Todd Helton. And Helton beats Saito again. Rips it to right, and here comes Mark Ellis with the Rockies' 4th run. Not quite as impactful, but it does conjure up an image from a few years ago, does it not?
Boy, does it ever. 2nd RBI from Todd Helton in this ball game.
Well, this replay brought to you by the Colorado Lottery. We go back to September 18, 2007. The start of the run. Todd Helton against a guy who they could not touch all year, Takashi Saito, until Holiday singled and Helton homered. Before Matt Holliday's preceding base hit, the Rockies did not have a hit all year against Takashi Saito that year.
Oh, he was total dominant. He wasn't nobody even close to him when it came into the 9th inning.
43 RBIs now for Helton. He's got a 2-for-3 night. Talk about setting the table, George. Dexter scored twice, and the 2-hole hitter Mark Ellis has scored twice.
And doing it with 2 outs is nice to see in this inning.
Here's the 0-1 to Troy. Down low, 1-1. You want to talk about the Mutual Admiration Society. Troy Tulowitzki and Ryan Braun talk about how they're very, very close friends. Troy is saying it's nice to have a chance to just hang out with Braun and Holiday during the All-Star festivities. But when you talk to them individually, I mean, Troy's favorite player to watch is Ryan Braun. And one of Braun's favorite players to watch is Troy Tulowitzki. He said, I love how competitive he is. I love how tough he is. Love what a great hitter he is.
Well, I think other players obviously admire the ability and watch what other players do, not only on the field, but off the field, in the locker room, their leadership qualities, and that kind of makes that well-rounded player everybody talks about.
Two ones outside. It's 3-1. 41-year-old Takashi Saito. That 07 season for the Dodgers, Saito would save 39 ball games. And it's called a strike, 3-2. He was on the National League All-Star team that year, and he led all National League relievers with a 1.40 ERA. But on September the 18th, the Rockies got him. And that started that incredible, unforgettable run. 21 days. Outside, Eddie Rapuano kind of flinched. Ball 4. And now 2 on for Wigginton. 3 straight of reach with 2 outs. Hey, if your windshield's damaged, call Safelite Auto Glass at 303-287-5000 or go to safelite.com. Now pop up to shallow left center field. Braun a long run. He'll get there. In the inning, a 2-out double by Ellis. Todd Helton ripped Saito for a base hit. Rockies have a 4-0 lead. Sunday on Rockies Weekly with Jim Tracy. We check in with Troy Tulowitzki and hear all about his all-star experience firsthand. Take a look back at some of the greatest Colorado moments in the Midsummer Classic. That and much, much more on Rockies Weekly with Jim Tracy this Sunday right after the ball game. Rockies made a change. Ryan Spilborghs goes from right field to left field. Seth Smith goes into the ball game, or stays in the ball game. He pinch hit, and he's in right field. Matt Lindstrom will pitch the 8th inning after 7 wonderful innings from Juan Nicasio tonight. And George Kataris is the pinch hitter, and he fouls this back out of play.
Well, it's just power against a pretty good fastball hitter. Kataris is one of those guys that doesn't play a lot. See a couple of home runs, 8 RBIs in a backup role.
He's pinch hitting for Betancourt, then Counsell and LaCroix. So the line from Nicasio, George, 7 innings, no runs, just 4 hits, did not walk a batter, as you mentioned, and 4 punch outs. How good's that?
That's the great key for me, just not going out and giving up any walks at all. There's soft tackle back to Winston. They'll flip it to Helton for the first time. Well, get your tickets now to see the Rockies face the Braves on Monday through Thursday. They'll be here with that afternoon ball game on Thursday, so make sure you get your tickets. There's a lot of ways to do it. You can call 1-800-388-ROCK. You can go to Coors Field and buy them there at the day of the game or prior to the Dugout Stores and King Supers.
Counsell's 0 for 2. Two outs.
Double barrel action out of the bullpen right now. If they get in trouble, talking about Lindstrom, doesn't look like they'll be that way. Save situation for Houston Street, or a lead 4-0 in here. That's probably who you're going to get. Axford, not a save yet, but Axford, one of those guys that will get some work in the 9th. Hard throwing right-hander. Boy, he can throw hard.
Lucroy takes a strike at 97. It's 0-1. Rockies last night beat up Giovanni Gallardo, and that's not easy to do. But Gallardo not really fond of pitching at Coors Field. He's now 0-2 with a 10.07 ERA and 4 starts at 20th and Blake.
Here, not only here, he hasn't beat the Rockies in his career. 0-4 overall in his career.
Pretty good pitcher,
places.
too.
Yeah, great pitcher. 2nd round draft pick out of the Texas area.
Here's the 0-2. This could be a defining road trip also for Milwaukee, Frazier, in that talked about how great they are at home. They're just a half game behind St. Louis in the division, but miserable on the road. They punch out here. An 11-game road trip, and they're staring down the possibility of being 0-2 out of the gate. 4-0 Rockies. Time for our Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. Well, Dexter Fowler in his return to the big leagues, a double down the left field line. And that happened in the first inning. Dexter would come around and score on a wild pitch. Let me see him running the bases. Changes for Milwaukee. Craig Counsell's now at shortstop. In the ballgame at third base is Casey McGee. And John Axford, who normally is the closer for Milwaukee, but the roles are going to change a little bit, potentially. Ron Renicky saying Axford will close sometimes, and newly acquired K-Rod will close sometimes. And there's news surrounding Francisco Cordero, or Rodriguez. There's a base hit for Spilborghs. Francisco Rodriguez was announced today. George, he had a $17.5 million automatic contract for next year. If he finished, I think it was 55 games, he needed to finish 21 more. Right. And it was a $3.5 million buyout if he did not. Well, he has a new agent, Scott Boras, and they worked out a deal where they've wiped that off the books, basically. And there's a new buyout for a little higher figure. But there's no longer the pressure for Milwaukee to say, oh man, if he does finish 21 ball games, we're on the hook for $17.5 million next year. So I'm sure Ron Renicky, who didn't want to get into contracts, a little bit relieved he can go with the guy he wants to go with, well, and not have to worry about a financial situation.
Let's look at it from this standpoint. It's July 15th, correct? July 15th. If A-Rod, K-Rod says,
this is ripped double play. And can't hit it any harder than Stewart just hit it.
If I'm not going to get the close game, what's his value going to be next year on the free agent market? It's not going to be nearly as good if he closes for the next 2.5 months. He's not stupid. The Milwaukee Brewers are not going to pick up his $17.5 million. They are going to pick up the $3.5 million buyout in it. But if he's able to close and show his worth of being a closer over the next 2.5 months, they get to the playoffs, it only drives up his ability to make a lot of money again as a closer.
And maybe get a multi-year deal, to your point.
So I think by foregoing all that, there's a little shrewdness behind Mr. Boris's thought process with that also.
Yeah, absolutely. In New York, he was wearing 75. Now he's 57.
Maybe they put the numbers on backwards.
See, that could be.
I doubt that.
Ball and 2 strikes on Chris Iannetta. Who Wants Tacos fans, if you'd like to receive text message alerts when the Rockies score 7 or more runs for the Rockies Taco Special, text the keyword taco to 720-720 from our friends at Taco Bell. And a comebacker. Let's go to the 9th inning. The Rockies have all the runs. 4-zip. They lead Milwaukee. Town Sports Package. Well, the rain moved in and around Coors Field. The Rockies raining on the Brewers tonight. 4-0 they lead. They've out-hit the Brew Crew 9-4 after the ball game. The Toyota post-game report. Tom Helmer has some of the details. Tom.
Well, we'll talk about Magic Juan. 7 scoreless innings on the hill for Juan Nicasio. We'll break down his performance. We'll talk about Tulowitzki, TWO. Pair of doubles tonight, drove in a run. Another great offensive performance by him. And, of course, as always, we'll get you down into the clubhouse. Drew?
All right, Tom, sounds like a plan. Here's our Ecotech game summary. It's brought to you by Ecotech Institute in Denver, where you can make the world your workplace. Rockies got a run thanks to the double and the speed of Dexter Fowler in the first inning. Got another run from Todd Helton, base hit in the third. 5th inning, they would score again. Todd drove another run in the 7th, and Juan Nicasio's the story tonight. 7 shutout innings. That's our Ecotech Institute game summary. So the 9th inning, Houston Street, despite it being a 4-run lead and a non-save situation, Coors Field, especially after the inactivity after the break, Houston will get the baseball here.
Jim Tracy has always said this is a difficult ballpark to walk away with a win, and one thing he hated is to play 24 outs and then hand it to somebody else and let it get in trouble. So even with 4-run lead, 5-6-run lead, you'll see Houston Street close a ball game out because of that very fact. Jim wants this thing won.
9-1-2 in the order for Milwaukee. So Ron Renicky will go to his bench, and here's the longtime veteran Mark Kotsay. Kotsay takes outside, ball 1. Kotsay, Weeks, and Niger Morgan. Kotsay's hit .261 this year in a utility role. It's 1-2 on Kotsay. He's worn some uniforms now. Had success at Coors Field, Florida, San Diego, Oakland, Atlanta, Boston, and the White Sox. Now the Milwaukee Brewers. Not quite Matt Stairs, but he's going to have some jerseys to frame at the end of his career. 2-2. And in his career, just under a .280 hitter. Those are good numbers. Strike 3, right at the knees at 92 miles an hour. Well, I didn't think so, but the 4th strike zone suggests that Mark missed one.
Well, because of the strike zone being shown and a lot of high strikes being called, when a low fastball is thrown for a strike, hitters want to complain a lot about it. Credit Iannetta, too. He really extended the arm and kept that thing up in the zone.
Ricky Weeks has been quiet tonight, 0 for 3. Ground ball to short and a couple of fly balls to right field. Sinker for a strike. It's 0-1. Weeks had 15 members of his family down, as you look at Juan Nicasio, down at the All-Star game, including Jamil, his brother, who plays for the A's. It was a family affair at the All-Star game for Weeks. Said it before, you know, he wears that baggy jersey, George. This guy's built like an NFL strong safety. I mean, he is some kind of strong.
You always look at the thickness in the shoulder area of players, because that jersey's got to drape over something. That isn't a coat hanger.
Looks like it, though, doesn't it?
That's pretty big. That's a pretty thick guy.
0-2, smash to short. Tulo's got it. 2 gone in the 9th inning. He's ready. And we're ready for the copyright. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Colorado Rockies and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Colorado Rockies. Well, Nyjer Morgan trying to extend this game for the Brewers. And with Ryan Braun on deck, Braun's 23-game hitting streak in jeopardy of ending. Strike 1. The Brewers have 4 hits. Morgan has 2 of them. Prince Fielder has 2 of them. 0-2. She's got purple on, and she's got her baseball glove. That's a fan.
That's happiness, man, right there.
0-2. Morgan went. Strike 3. Ball game over. Braun's hit streak dies, and the Rockies have started the second half with 2 very convincing wins. 12-3 last night, and on Friday night in Lodo, behind Juan Nicasio, they shut out the Brew Crew 4-0. One of the top offenses in the game. Tonight's delivery of the game is brought to you by Jimmy John's, America's favorite sandwich delivery guys. Juan Nicasio, 7 dominant innings. He allowed just 4 hits, did not walk a batter, and he struck out 4, a ton of ground ball outs. And he mixed in enough sliders and an occasional changeup to keep hitters off balance. He dominated with that 96, 97 mile an hour heater. Well done, Rockies. They're within 3 of the 500 mark. Stick around. The Toyota postgame show is up next.